I hope you're going to fire some.
Say again?
I hope you're going to fire some things at me.
No, because once I would have your number, I can speak to you. I can't speak to you when I ain't got your number. That's why I said call it straight away.
Yeah, now.
Live, okay.
Yeah. Sure.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, good. Good, how are you? Still haven't done that channel thing, have we? Let's do that. Let's do that. Contact me in the next couple of days. We'll do it, yeah? You got my number?
I'll take it up on your show.
Actually, on the website of the tour.
I normally email you.
Yeah, but you can text me on the website of that. It's got my number. Call me on that. Okay, fire away.
Could you explain the dictatorship of the proletariat concerning Marx's idea of the dictatorship of the proletariat? What does it mean?
Okay, so the first question today is a bit of a theoretical one about Marxism. And Addy here asked me, what does the dictatorship of the proletariat mean? Well, the idea was that in ancient Rome, there were times when there were, in order to enforce a change or bring about a significant change, you had to have a temporary dictatorial powers to be able to enforce changes. So think back, for example, to Boris Johnson proroguing Parliament over the Brexit issues and restricting the normal procedures of democratic processes and enforcing a policy, pushing it through. Or you can think more concretely about the transition from one type of society owned and controlled by a tiny minority of people to a society in which the majority of people control the wealth and power in society. Let me give an example. A few years back, Piers Corbyn's brother was the leader of the Labour Party. And when he was the leader of the Labour Party, there was the fear amongst the ruling classes in Britain and internationally, by the way, that if Jeremy Corbyn was elected as Prime Minister, that it would so scare the established order and so threaten the balance of power in society, the perception of the balance of power in society, that extraordinary measures would have to be taken. In fact, there was a serving general inside the British Army who was quoted by the Times newspaper as saying, if Jeremy Corbyn is elected as Prime Minister of Britain, we will have to use the army to overthrow the government. That was what they said about Jeremy Corbyn. Then they ran a campaign of smears and slanders. But coming back to the issue, so if Jeremy Corbyn would have been elected and the Labour Party would have been prepared to carry through the policies they were elected on, which of course are big ifs, then how would you be able to do that in the face of the generalised resistance of the mass media, of the entire legal establishment, of the police, of the army, of the navy, of the air force, and of the United States of America and the leaders of the European Union? How would you do so in the face of the stiff opposition by the establishment against the elected leader of this country? And the truth of the matter is, you would have to take extreme measures. If you say, pass a law through Parliament that says, we will nationalise the leading banks in the country, I believe that in those circumstances, the bankers and the mass media and the army would start making secret meetings and conspiracies to try to overthrow the elected government. And if you want to stop that from happening, if you believe in genuine democracy, then you would have to be prepared to take measures against those powers, which means expropriation of the leading figures in the banks, removal of the leading managers of the leading banks, and control over the police and the army, which might mean sacking the majority of the general staff, the majority of the leaders of the police force, the majority of judges, High Court and senior judges, and also inside the Westminster apparatus of governmental power, the civil servants who make the decisions year in, year out, regardless of which political party is in power, they would also have to be sacked. And also the mass media, those who control the mass media, they would also have to be ordered to allow people to express their opinion, or else also be sacked. The consequence of that is they are likely to use force against a democratically elected government. And therefore you would have to be prepared in a war to fight like in a war. And that means to take measures that would break the official constitutional framework. For example, take the most elementary question. If a government is elected in this country, if Jeremy Corbyn had stood by his principles, which unfortunately he ended up not doing, but had he stood by his principles and said, I'm in favour of the abolition of the monarchy, and then Parliament is presented with a bill to abolish the monarchy, and that bill has to be signed by the monarch. Well, clearly, you can't abide by the constitutional procedure in circumstances where you're challenging the Constitution. And therefore, sorry?
You don't have a constitution.
Well, that's right. The pseudo-constitution. You're right, the pseudo-constitution. You're correct.
So you don't have it.
The pseudo-constitution. Well, there is a need for argument because if you go to university... Why are you running away? Why are you running away? He's saying there isn't a constitution in Britain. True. But the constitution in Britain is an unwritten constitution, but it has certain formula, structure and order, including in particular the necessity for the monarch to sign off all legislation. So clearly you wouldn't be able to do that. So what does dictatorship of the proletariat then mean? It means when you want to bring about fundamental transformation of society from capitalism to socialism, it would inevitably entail being forced to take measures that would infringe on the power and wealth and prestige and authority of a tiny elite of people who control society today. And they pull the strings on a daily basis. So when Marx spoke about the dictatorship of the proletariat, he was contrasting it with existing society. In the society we live in today, we are told we have the right to vote, the right to demonstrate, the right to strike, the right to speak, the free political parties. But in reality, what we have is a dictatorship. We live under a dictatorship of big business and capital. The most powerful companies and banks in Britain and the world dictate to the political parties who can and cannot be their leader. That is why Keir Starmer expelled Jeremy Corbyn. And now, as soon as Jeremy Corbyn was expelled from the Parliamentary Labour Party, then the mass media forgot every single criticism of the Labour Party. The Labour Party policies were still the same. In fact, Keir Starmer explicitly said he would stand by the policies of the 2019 manifesto. But as soon as he was in power, as soon as he had the authority to wield inside the party, out went Jeremy Corbyn, the previous leader. So what they were really saying is the people and the members of the parties can have no say in what happens in society. And that's not only applicable to the Labour Party, by the way. Rishi Sunak was not elected by the people of Britain to be Prime Minister of Britain, nor even by the members of the Tory party. Don't forget, Liz Truss was elected leader of the Tory party, and within a month, the British capitalists, maybe later, the British capitalists...
Give me a time. Do you want to come back in 10 minutes?
I'm doing so at the moment, after I come and have work. The British establishment mobilised within days of the election of Liz Truss, because they didn't like her policies, they removed her from power within a month. That was the leader of the Conservative Party, the oldest political party in the world. And yet, their democracy is not recognised. They remove the leader of that party and they install Tweedledee and Tweedledum, Rishi Sunak, the man of the establishment, to do the Goldman Sachs. He was former Goldman Sachs. In other words, merchant banking, merchant capital, controlling the world. So the idea that we live in a democracy, well, that was what Marx was saying. He said, we live in a dictatorship of capital. And therefore, if you really want to break the power of the establishment in society today, and you really want to bring about change for the benefit of the majority of society, then you must be prepared to break their power. And that power is ubiquitous economic power. It starts in every word. Go to the coffee shop there. And when you go to the tiny coffee shop with 3 members of staff, there's a hierarchy of power. Someone gives the orders, someone takes the orders. You go to McDonald's, they got a rigid regime of power and control over the movement and action of all workers all day long. You go to a hotel, they got the people running around like skivvies, clean that, do that, do that, do that. You go to the police, even the police, they're ordered, do this, do that. We had battles here with the police. 2021, we had 3 major physical fights to maintain Speaker's Corner during that year. Big fights here at Speaker's Corner. The police were ordered, you go, you attack, you do that, you hit them, you attack them. So the idea that we live under a democracy, when the reality is staring you in the face. By the way, democracy, we had free speech at Speaker's Corner. They abolished that. When they wanted to, they abolished it. And they brought in Praetorian guards of police, marching in formation to attack us when we stood up and spoke. One of my friends here, one of the Christians, preachers over there, marched through here, screaming and shouting. That signaled the opening of all of us getting up and trying to speak. And we eventually broke their power. We broke them in Hyde Park, but only through massive, violent conflicts in the park did we win the right to speak at the park again. By the way, that's how we won the right to speak in Hyde Park, right back in 1866, or even earlier, 1855, during the Hyde Park riots, which secured the right for people to get up and speak without hindrance. Because of the balance of forces, it's about force. Who has the force? Who has the power? So, which comes on to the next question. The question of what's happening in Israel. And oppressed people are trying to stand up for their rights and using an opportunity to try and stand up for their rights. Now, you may not like the tactics they use, but in war, you have violent tactics. That's the truth. Now, the unfortunate reality is the Israeli state is very powerful, as is the international state. Don't forget, they locked up nearly the whole world for 2 years on the basis of what now has been shown. Some people said all along, but now has been shown, you can't deny, has been shown to be a lie. They lied about the dangers of COVID. They lied about the vaccines. They lied about staying at home, how good for you it was. They lied about the masks going to protect you. They lied about the vaccines are going to protect you. They lied about, now they're lying about the numbers of people who are dying who've been vaccinated. Now they're lying about that. And that's in the mainstream now. It's all in the mainstream now. It's not like someone at Speaker's Corner coming out with it. The Daily Mail yesterday, major article. Many of the people said to have died of COVID did not die of COVID. They just put it on the label. If they test positive, yes, dead from COVID. Right? That's how they did it. Manufactured the figures in order to control society. These are the games they get up to. And in the case of Israel, ultimately, it's my view, the same arguments you see are applicable all around the world. It's my view that only if the working classes and the poor of the Jewish working class and poor, and the Arab working class and the Palestinian working class, if they unite together, even on small-scale strikes, demonstrations and protests, it's very difficult because of the sharp polarization in society on national ground. But when they come together, like there was an airport strike a short while ago, Jewish and Palestinian workers striking together. That shows, that undermines the power of those above. That's the only actual way, in my view, that you're ever going to succeed in destroying the Israeli state as it is and establishing power by the people, which is the same question of power that exists in Britain or in America or in Germany or in France.
Same shit.
And you look across at Ukraine. We are told every couple of days we need to put in. Zelensky is worse than Piers with his money box. He runs around everywhere he goes. He's got his money box. 7 billion here, 10 billion there, more weapons here, more weapons there. Constantly seeking weapons of mass destruction. In order to do what? The Ukrainian people are losing 5 to 7 times as many people as the Russians are. 5 to 7 times as many people. Constant war about how much, they talked, remember in February, March, they told you the spring offensive is coming. We provided the weapons. We provided the logistics. We've trained these soldiers. We've trained the officer corps. We've sent the laser-guided missiles. We've sent the drones. Everything Ukraine requires to fight the war and beat the Russians and drive them out of Ukraine is there. We've given it. We've provided it. You've provided it, in other words. Your energy bills, your tax bills, you paid for this. And then they say to you, the spring offensive is coming. How much territory did Ukraine gain in the last 8 months? How much territory? 500 meters? 300 meters? Minus 300? I do not know of any major victory in the last 8 months. And that was the period they were supposed to do it. Now everyone knows what's going on. The Americans are starting to wash their hands. The Europeans, the Slovakians just voted against. The Germans are going to vote, was it Bavaria, are going to vote AFD, also opposed to the war. Gradually, the unity around dropping bombs on the Ukrainian and Russian people is disappearing. Yet all the body bags, all the dead, and all the money taken from our pockets in the name of protecting the Ukrainian freedom and rights. You see the joke of it all. You get this guy Justin Trudeau cheering on some neo-Nazi Ukrainian officer or whatever he was. That's how farcical it is. And he scuppers around the world. You see his wife went with him. I saw that she spent £1 million of your money on jewellery for herself. Madame Zelensky, £1 million a couple of days ago on jewellery for herself on one of her holidays to beg for money. So this is what we're actually funding. The idea that this is a war for freedom, a war for democracy, it is a lie. And by the way, you can trace it back. The war in Ukraine began the very week that the COVID story was dropped. Suddenly they stopped us. They stopped the PCR test for travelling. They stopped the restrictions in Britain. And all of a sudden, all over Europe and America, the restrictions disappeared. The very same week that the war in Ukraine began. And by the way, oh wait a minute.
Is Russia right?
What do you mean right?
Is
What
it
do you mean
right?
right? What do you mean right?
Or wrong?
Might is right in war. Might is right
So
in
you
war.
want a country to invade a strong country. You want
War understand only one language.
What do you mean I want? What do you mean I want?
Well done.
What do you mean I want?
Well
anything
done.
What do you mean I want?
Everybody,
No, you're not listening.
Might is right.
You're just asserting.
So if a strong person comes
No,
in,
this is the reality. It's not what I choose. I said to you, that's what the reality is. I said that's what the reality is. I wasn't defending the proposition, but you're not bothering to listen. Your brain is incapable. Your brain seems to be incapable of nuance. Your brain seems to be incapable of nuance. Well, you're the idiot because you stood there, made one statement. When I replied to you and attempt to explain, you don't listen. And then you run away with your £6,000 shirt on.
You shouldn't lose your temper if you are leading.
If I took away.
Yeah, why are you losing your temper against the old man?
I didn't lose. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's not a leadership, is it? We are
I'm
here
not asking to be a leader. I'm
to
speaking
learn
at
something
Speaker's
from.
Corner.
We are here to learn something from.
Okay, fine. I'm speaking at Speaker's Corner.
Yeah, but you
I
shouldn't
speak
lose
the way
your
I
temper.
speak.
You should be very
Well,
cool.
that's fair enough. That's Tel Aviv.
Yeah, you're speaking on a
You
war.
want to see me lose temper? I can lose
I
temper
mean,
another
you
way.
talk about Second World War. What happened then?
Second World War.
Yeah,
What happened in the Second World War?
yeah. What happened? How many
British- the
Muslims
British
died in
Sorry?
that war? How many Muslims died in that war?
I don't know how many Muslims died. Do you know?
About 20 million.
I don't know.
You ever talk about them?
I don't know how many.
Do you talk about
Just
Kashmir?
ask-
Do you talk about Kashmir? For 77 years, people dying there. You talk about Palestine, people are dying there.
I was talking about that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, then good man. You should carry on your job. I mean, Ukraine is a joker there. The joker put his nation into the war. It's nobody's fault. You know the joker, the president there in Ukraine.
Zelensky.
Yeah, he's the bloody joker. He put his whole nation in
Don't
the
get
war.
angry with him.
Eh? I'm not angry with him. He got the bloody innocent people got killed.
Don't get angry.
No, I'm not angry. I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you the truth. The truth is
You're
that
telling the truth.
look,
Yes.
the poor people here to work to feed the rich one.
Yes.
Look across the road is a Pakistani ex-prime minister.
Yes.
From number 1 to 13, he owns that. How many billion pound he have to pay for that property? Do you know?
I don't know.
Yeah.
money.
Anybody ask him? Do you talk about him? He's just cross the road. Look at that building there.
Yeah,
He's
I can-
owned by a
You can see
Pakistan.
us. You can see us.
A
I've
Pakistani
seen
prime
him many
minister
times.
You can see
and the
us.
Pakistani people are paying taxes. They are dying in the street without food. If this government ask him, look, mister, give us some money, we'll feed the poor people in Pakistan.
I've been to Pakistan a
Yeah,
couple of
but
times.
this is a problem. The problem
sorry,
is starting
you
from
want to
America,
speak?
is go to Europe, and they are
want to
the
speak?
troublemakers.
Did you want to speak? Or?
Yeah, I'm not speaking. I'm teaching you how should you speak. Make people.
Hey, what you laughing at?
What you got under your nose? That building?
What?
That
I was just about to reply to you about Pakistan.
Right? Yeah, talk about it. It's a hard issue. It's a very hard issue.
Push me, now I'm going to do it.
Yeah, go on.
So I've been to Pakistan a couple of times.
Somebody's talking about
Hang on, I'm just replying to
dying in
you.
the street of
Do you have ears as well? So I'm replying to you. So I've been
how
to.
many Pakistanis live here? You know, in Britain. You know, how many Pakistanis
I know
live
you don't want me to reply.
2 million
You don't want me to reply,
He's
so I'm
been to
going to ignore
Pakistan.
you.
He's
I'm
been to
going to ignore you
Pakistan.
because you don't want me to
You're going to
reply.
get cross with me. Every leader don't like
Yeah,
that
of
kind of
course.
person they did.
Circularity. He's got me. He's got me. Tell him off. Tell him.
No, he's
You've
not
got the
going to
authority to
that.
tell him
That
off.
lovely girl, don't teach her hatred, man. She's a lovely angel. She's a lovely angel.
I can't win, can I?
Yeah, she's an angel.
You are my Lord and Saviour and teacher. Thank you.
Okay, go on. We here to listen.
So I've been. Well, you're not. You're obviously not.
No, I am. Thank you very much.
So I've been to Pakistan a couple of times, and when I went to Pakistan, I noticed, the utter destitution of the overwhelming majority of the population. Utter destitution. They live in buildings that are like roads that are dust, most of it. Not all of them, but roads that are dust. Same India actually. Roads that are dust. Buildings that are half crumbling. The circumstances are terrible. Some extremely wealthy people living in the country, but the rest of the country living in, and that was before
With nothing.
COVID. That was before COVID. And how does this happen? Because a number of world powers control Pakistan for their own interests. Pakistan became a playground like Afghanistan, a playground for international imperialism to fight out their wars and battle for control over resources. They bombed the smithereens out of Afghanistan. They give finances and resources to the army in Pakistan, who control nearly the entire economy of Pakistan, and backed by the Saudi Arabians, by the way. Backed by the Saudi Arabians, who gave billions of dollars to the people. This was where I was going to come on to before you so politely interrupted. Was before COVID, the real threat was always said to be terrorism. What happened to international terrorism? You might remember that, all the restrictions at the border. You can't take a bottle of water. You have to go through metal controls. You have to watch how much money people move in and out of their accounts and between countries. You have to watch anyone with a long beard and a flat cap on. You have to look out for anyone who's Muslim in case they're about to blow up the country. That was the argument. 1 minute. That was the argument they made before COVID, from 2001 up until 2019. That was the argument. The war on terror. Suddenly, the war on terror disappeared. The only bombs going off are in Pakistan itself. In the rest of the world, no bombs anymore. Where are the 7/7 bombs? Where are the 9/11 bombs? Where are the aeroplanes crashing the buildings? They all disappeared from the face of the earth in one go. So clearly there are people who push whatever bloody agenda they want to push at whatever time they want to push, because they control power. The Secret Service, what have they done? In the same period when these fake wars, fake struggles against viruses, fake war in Ukraine, these fake wars, they're not fake for the people there, but they're fake as far as the reality behind the justification is concerned. When they launched these fake wars, they took place at the same time as all of us came out of a world where you had a phone in your home that you picked up when someone called you. My mother still got one. Probably most of you don't have. You had a phone, when you wanted to contact someone, you phoned them on a landline. But then it became the mobile phone. Oh, there it is. The mobile phone. And the mobile phone became the instrument of global tyrannical surveillance. Every one of you is available now to be shot, to be spotted by a laser-guided missile and blown up. Every one of you, the communication you make, what you write, what you search for, what you collect, what you do with your money, all of it is recorded by the intelligence agencies, NSA, and those Five Eyes who control the Western intelligence services. All of it is monitored by them. They know more about you than you know about them. And they want you, of course, rather than thinking about what's actually happening in the world, they want you sitting there going,
Don't say too much.
But why?
Scroll through all day long. Watch everybody around you. They're no longer human to human beings. What we have around us is an army of cyborgs. People wandering around with a constant control of a machine. I was in town earlier and they're all going around like this, walking around with this stupid thing like this. There was a picture I saw the other day on the internet, on my mobile phone, and it had a table and the food, and then it says knife here, fork there, mobile phone there. That's what they do. Everywhere you go, there's a mobile phone with you. What is the mobile phone? It is the instrument for totalitarian control over the world. That's what it is. That's what the mobile phone is.
It's open source, so you choose to do good or bad.
How do you choose?
You can,
No, but you cut off.
Okay, open your mobile phone, show us
No,
a
you
TikTok.
can.
No, I'm only joking.
You do Google phone.
don't wanna
and you
see
get,
that.
you
The
get
point being, the
download
instrument
graphene
of
onto a
global
Google
tyranny
phone.
is inside your own pocket, and therefore you have control. You have the capacity to control the extent of the tyrannical control over you. Like Piers has been arguing, others have been arguing. You don't have to go up to them and bleat and tell them, I'm here, watch me. I bought beans, inform the bean company. I bought this at Sainsbury's, got a counter at Sainsbury's or Tesco now. You go to the counter, there's no human being. You got a bloody machine there, and then the machine has got a screen. A freaking screen where your face appears. That's facial recognition camera. A facial recognition camera. They're storing the data about how you look, how you behave, how you act when each product goes through. They get a psychological profile from you, combining that with all the other data they've ever collected on you, on all your usage of the internet, and all your connections with everyone else you know using the internet. So do not believe that these are instruments for your freedom, or for your leisure, or for your relaxation, or for your pleasure, or to watch a film. The machine is not there for you to watch things. The machine is there for them to watch you. That's the purpose of the whole game. That is the dynamic of tyrannical control over the population. And yes, you should use cash instead of using these machines. Because in that way they don't know what you're doing with your money. You can choose to do that anonymously. And also the cameras, the ULEZ cameras. I'm concerned about the ULEZ cameras because of what? Because the cameras are clearly not here to check who's driving an old car. That's bullshit. It's got nothing to do with that. They have a database of all the old cars in Britain. They know exactly. Everyone who's got a car, you have to register it with a DVLA. They know exactly what car you've got. So the idea they have to check up who's got what car is absolute bullshit.
They own the cars as well. We don't own them, they do.
Well, that's a technicality. Well, that's another question. I don't know about that.
Same with your house.
The issue there is, when you go past these cameras, they are watching every car and every movement of every person so they can control your actions. And during COVID, they said you had to stay at home. They imprisoned the entire planet. They told the kids they had to stay at home, watch the television, to learn at school. That's not learning. That's control over their brains and surveillance of those children from the youngest age, controlling them from the youngest age. And then they told you stand 6 feet apart, put a mask on, stay at home, cheer on the war. So you see, to break free of this tyrannical control, one is start by leaving your phone at home for 20 minutes. Just try it. Leave home, leave it at home. Then extend, make it an hour.
Not possible.
Make it 2 hours. Make it 6 hours. Make it 8 hours. Use it like a landline. Do you really need? Ask yourself this every time you pick that thing out of your pocket. Do you really need to do what you're doing now? Do you need to do that? Because you are giving them, every time you use that machine, you are giving them power over you. Take back power over your life and exercise power collectively against those tyrannical authorities who have seized control of the world for their own interests. That'll do for now.
Fantastic, as always. Heiko, to a quick run around the world.
Yes.
So I've spoken once already.
Oh, you're finished now.
I'll send you a text message.
I'm coming back.
You're coming back. Good.
Yes. Hello. Show up, Speaker's Corner. A lot of you weren't here earlier. I spoke earlier to welcome the Scottish contingent to our National United Front conference yesterday, but they had to go and catch a train back to Scotland. Okay, well, important comments. This new war in the Middle East has suddenly come on, and I think what will happen is that will be what you'll watch about wars. And as the West are defeated in Ukraine, it won't be on television anymore. It'll just be the news of the Middle East. This will be the cover to the defeat of Zelensky. What else will happen around there? I don't know. But as I said before,
They lost the war in Ukraine, man.
yes,
So,
as I
they
said
started
before,
coming now. They
Orwell
started
warned
taking
us there will always be a war somewhere against them, and you should support us, the government, but really the war is against you.
Finish now.
We don't know what excuses they'll have, but the war in the Middle East, because it will be very bloody, will be used as an excuse to control us just the same.
This war will
No.
last very long.
Yes.
It's not, the power.
We don't know. You can speak later, sir. You can stand here and speak later. Now, what is happening in Britain? The by-election in Scotland revealed the SNP is finished. The SNP is finished. Those evil scum direct agents of the World Economic Forum are finished. But what is going to happen instead? Labour will win at least 40 seats in the next general election in Scotland, and that will put Starmer, a WEF agent, again into Parliament to Downing Street. That is what is going to happen. The SNP, just like Zelensky, his time is over, his work is done.
We are
Now the WEF. The SNP is also finished. They're over. That thief, she's out. She's finished. Instead, Labour will be back in Scotland to back up Labour's failures in England. That is what it's about, and Starmer will be back unless we defeat them on the ground. As I've said many times before, no politician is ever going to save you from anything. All they do is stand there and blame each other. And we join elections not necessarily to get elected, but to change the political dynamic. We stood in Uxbridge by-election, a number of us, on the ULEZ issue to raise the issue, and after that all the political parties are questioning what's going to happen with their low emission zones and even the climate con. And we have to break the climate con to break the World Economic Forum. And if we don't break the climate con, we will lose, because it is the backdrop of
it's a
everything
good thing
they
you
do.
science deniers will lose, because you deny science, you deny vaccines because you're a moron, and you deny climate change because
So, do
you're
you
a
want to
moron.
look at this graph behind you?
Yeah, which you
There
made
you
up.
are.
Which you made up.
No,
If you make something up,
you're a
doesn't
liar.
make it fact.
Your side.
No,
agrees
I'm
with
a
it.
scientist. You're a liar.
I'm a scientist. I've got a first class degree.
I'm a scientist,
There you
and
are.
you're a liar.
Carbon dioxide level.
If that's what a scientist looks like,
Temperature changes.
It's true.
are you making
Yes.
a good example of a scientist?
Yes.
You don't look like one.
Or how does scientists look like?
no,
this is
no,
what they
no,
look like.
no,
This is what
My
they look
degree.
This is
no,
first
he's a
class
liar.
honours.
He pretends
First
he's got
class
PhD.
honours.
But he hasn't got
No,
one.
No, he
I've
doesn't.
never pretended. I've never pretended anything.
You don't have a doctorate.
I've never pretended that he does. He's got a doctorate.
This is a vaccine injury. This is a vaccine result.
And science deniers are liars.
Mr. my friend.
Yeah,
Leave the
I know.
vaccinated man alone.
You haven't because you're a moron.
You need help.
Me, Daddy.
Take him away. Put him in hospital. Right, so the front line fight back against the WEF now is the
Science
local...
says there is climate change. Science says get vaccinated, and we know how the immunity works. No, I can talk.
Stay at home. It's too hot today.
Go home. Go home. No, I can say what I want.
Oh, fuck off.
No, I'm not
that's not
taking orders
free
from you, you
speech.
little
You're
monkey.
undermining
I'm
free
not
speech.
taking orders from you, you little monkey.
You are
You little
undermining
red-faced
free
racist
speech.
monkey.
And you're frothing at the mouth.
Yes, I know. And you're red like a
Frothing at
monkey's
the
ass.
mouth.
Your mum.
Okay,
They
the fight emission zone is the front line fight against the World Economic Forum.
We all know how greenhouses are. How green science. We all Look at
Look like a greenhouse.
That's what he did. That's what he did. I was at a conference. Him and his girlfriend and started his stuff.
Knock over the
Just going to move on.
All right, people. Okay. Continuing. The man is a liar. Science has to be based on evidence. We have the evidence. He's got nothing to say. So the key front lines against the World Economic Forum are the World Economic Forum, are the fight against the emission zones, and stop and keep cash, keep cash. Cash, keep cash, keep cash, keep cash, keep cash, keep cash.
Support Johnny Cash.
He's an agent provocateur who's got nothing to say. Yeah, we've got to wait for him to push out or moved out or...
I'm disrupting me. I'm disrupting him the way he disrupted me. I'm disrupting me.
Okay, well, thank you for watching. We're still carrying on.
No, he's touching me. I'm not touching
Next issue is preparing for the next lockdown or attack. We discussed this at our National United Front conference yesterday. So please come online.
Science!
Piers _Corbyn, Stop You Normal. Is the Telegram link which you can get. The important thing about the next lockdown is to prepare. We don't just take to the streets, we'll take on the council. Go to the town halls and blockade the town halls. Take over the town halls.
Then say your mum. Shut the fuck
I
up.
can say that. Bloody skinhead.
Science is based on evidence.
Science.
This guy has got no
Science.
evidence. We have the evidence.
Science.
Man-made
Science.
climate change does not exist.
Science!
And there will
Science.
be paid
Get
opposition,
vaccinated!
morons like him going all over the
Don't believe
country
this idiot.
to try and wreck
Science.
our debate.
Science.
So people,
Science!
I'll repeat,
Science!
on the next time there's a lockdown, maybe later this year, we don't know. They're going to try something. We will take to the streets, take over the town halls, blockade the town halls, stop them implementing the World Economic Forum policies. And I will end there. Resist!
Defy! Do not comply! Resist! Defy! Do not comply! Resist! Defy! Do not comply!
And before we go, leaflets and t-shirts. Only £10, newly produced. We've got extra large, medium and large. Please buy them now, only £10, and put money in the box for more leaflets. I've just returned from a big tour all over the country to Stockport, Burnley, Salford, Manchester, Glasgow, Newcastle, I've mentioned one of those ones, Leeds and back to London. Thanks for all the support there, tremendous support we got, but please, any more money in the box for petrol and buy a t-shirt. And I'll repeat one more again. Resist! Defy! Do not comply! Thank you very much.
Thanks, Piers.
What a piece of pus that guy is. Syphilitic war. He's suddenly gone quiet.
Yeah, because he's got nothing to fucking say, that's the thing.
Oh, I see. Funny because of his disruption.
He's a racist liar with a red.
You gotta come back next week. He's good for business. We get more money.
No, that's what it is. I went to the conference and and he went down to the
Yes, any more new flyers?
Quite right.
which was related to my work. And him and his group work.
What work?
Twice.
You're mentally work.
Mentally ill. See him making fun.
Yes, any new flyers?
Yes. We have some new flyers here.
He went to a real
This ULEZ one.
Are you less?
You might have this one, but it's relatively new. Do you want to take a few glasses?
All right, ladies and gents. Maybe you want a little walkabout. Do you want to walk about, guys? The trouble is I can't see text.
I've got one.
Or can I? Maybe I can.
Is that one of the front ones? The old one?
I can, look, I can see. Keep going and film the nut or something. Look, I've got a whole text here. Look, I didn't even know that. Revolution in thinking, you see. Film the nutter. Well, that's going. I'll have a quick wander around and then I'll have a little wander around the speakers and stuff.
Marxism was
£10 each, these ones, £10 each. Resist if I do not comply.
I've never seen you that angry. You shouldn't have got sucked into it. It's only
Feminists come and listen.
I know, you've got to do something like that.
It's mental health issues. I'm not saying
I mean, you can't just let someone.
No, I'm not. I'm disagreeing. I'm just making.
I wasn't sure what you were talking about, man. I thought it was to do with ULEZ. Is that why you're here? But if it's ULEZ, I completely support that and get something fun out.
Yeah, horrible.
But then you started talking about Pakistan, but then I guess
Well,
I just left, man.
Worship and cherish your wife. And when, no, because when you have a wife, she is the most important person in your life.
You have to worship her. Like you worship Jesus.
No,
No, she doesn't mean that. She means like God. Cherish.
A woman is supposed to be cherished.
Cherish, not worship.
Andrew Tate has said the exact same thing.
yeah. How's life for you?
All right. I went up and done a speech earlier, and it was good.
Oh, you made a speech?
Yeah.
What did you speak about?
The threat of the far right, and
When did you first come to Speaker's Corner? That's the first time you've spoken, isn't it?
so that's probably about not very many speeches, but I've been here for a couple of years.
Okay.
But I haven't spent every Sunday getting up and speaking.
What brings you back here?
Conversation with people. So it's a social meeting your mates, meeting regular people, asking how they've been doing. Like a meet up.
And what's your music?
Music.
What's your music? You got a guitar with you? What's your music?
Yeah, I'm like a heavy metal rock kind of guy.
All right. You don't look it.
No, I don't like it. No. But yeah.
All right. See you later.
Yeah. All right. Take care.
Do you serve the God that made you? Or do you serve the God you have made? Who is the God you serve, my dear friend? Every man has a God. Everyone
How's the world with you?
has a God.
Preaching going well?
So, Satan,
Do I know your name?
Heiko. What was yours again? Johannes. Johannes. Heiko.
Not bless Palestine! Anyone brave enough to answer? Why just Allah not bless Palestine?
Zionist.
It's not a blessing. Living in fear is not a blessing. I'll quote you from the culture of the Quran. Living in war is not a blessing. Living in fear is not a blessing. Wants to bless someone, nothing can stop it. Is Allah not blessing Palestine? They're going against their Quran. They're humiliating Allah.
You are the cause of all the trouble.
Maybe you just don't understand. The Quran says the children of Israel will return. A prophecy from Allah. But you guys are going against Allah's prophecies. And you're signing. It says in the Quran, if you go against this Quran, you will have a life of hardship.
The same way you came, you will go.
And they screw the Quran.
Palestine.
They screw the Quran.
Free Palestine.
And that it says in the Quran, if you go against this Quran, you have a life of hardship.
This is Zionist.
The Zionists are done. The Zionists are done in Palestine.
Who was the first Zionist?
The Zionists are done in Palestine.
God used the word Zion 129 times in the Jewish Torah. I've only ever met two Muslims smart enough to read the Jewish Torah. Most of you are rank third world people.
That's very polite.
Educate yourselves.
That's very polite.
Educate yourselves. Read the Torah which Allah set down. Read the Christian gospel that Allah set down. Educate yourselves.
I suggest believed in Christ, but 80 years ago,
talk about is toruses. You know what an electromagnetic torus is? Okay, it's like I'll give you a physical example. But it's a twisting, twisting thing. And you've got at the top, twisting and turning around. It's called a hyperboloid, and then it goes in the butt of the apple, and then it goes back up through the center of the apple. Now, if you cut that apple open, top to bottom, you'll see the only solid part of the apple is the seed. Everything else is water. So if you look at our Earth, if you magnify that up quintillion times, it just shows you what you see here, which is that the only solid part is the continents, and around us is water. It's dense water at sea level. It's wet and so on.
It's like a swimming pool.
Above us.
Is there an edge to it? The swimming pool.
Yeah. Well, water must be contained. That's basic physics.
So
let me finish.
How deep is the pool?
So above us, above the sea level, is atmosphere. That atmosphere is really just rarefied water and gases. Yeah. So it's really just thin air, and it gets thinner and colder as we go up, and then as it comes down in the bottom, it's superheated. You know, we've only drilled 8 miles into the Earth, so that's all we can say. But as far as we go down, it gets hotter and hotter and hotter. Can we go 4,000 miles down to a core at the center? Absolutely not. We can make up stories about that based on how deep it would have to be if we live on a ball that they tell us is 24,000 miles in circumference. But we can't go down there, so we have to take that on belief that there's all this stuff going on and that there's an iron core that is creating...
I'm happy the sun is out. شوف وين وصلنا انت مرة تخرج من السياسة إلى الدين.
No one is good but God alone. No one is good, Jesus says, but God alone. Only God was good in the eyes of Jesus Christ. Jesus said, no man is good. Out of the heart of man comes fornication, lust, adultery, pride, arrogance, malice, deceit. Out of the heart of man, Jesus says, comes evil. And we've all had evil out of our hearts. And so we better know Jesus Christ crucified on the cross for saving grace. For God is a holy God. Amen. Muslims know that God is holy. Amen. But they got no answer for sin. They got no answer for breaking the law of Moses. They got no answer for it. Jesus Christ crucified. We got the sinless sacrifice of Jesus Christ on the cross.
All the major points in history. I'm listening, but you just told me about location. I didn't know the location. First of all, I just proved you wrong. No, you didn't. No, you haven't. No logic. You told me about an horizon. That's the distance. Allah said Allah narrated you went to the location. Where is this location? Can I go?
This is the
You've been talking to him for 10 minutes.
Nope. He was
not bearable. He was not God. In John 6 clearly.
Now they are harvesting it because since 1975 years they are planting hatred. Yeah, I mean 75 years. Yeah. Hatred, occupation, apartheid, all this kind of hatred. And now is the time when they raise one day. Now the Intifada, let's say this war is on one day. See what happened? The whole world. Since 75 years, the Palestinians are living it every day. Every day. Now is one day. You are putting one day and you forgot the 75 years. One day compared to 75 years.
What have I said supporting that? I've said nothing supporting the Israeli state.
No, we are with you, but you can't judge one day with the 75. You forgot the 75 years. And then you come to one day, you are judging only one day they killed somebody. Okay, I understand.
First of all, I'm not forgetting the 75 years.
No,
I'm not judging.
You didn't come back.
You said it breaks my heart.
Okay.
To see women and children be killed.
It breaks
my heart more to see Palestinians be involved in Gaza. It totally breaks my heart.
But what about the Jews doing?
I would say Zionists. I would say all Zionists.
Why they go to build state? Somebody else there. This is the rule.
Of course it's wrong.
You can't solve it like
I
now.
agree with you. I think I'm getting myself twisted up here.
No, we are with you. Let me ask you.
Round up, T-shirts from Piers.
What's the? Can we have a weather forecast? Now it's time for the weather forecast.
Well,
now to be fair, the last weather forecast you made, which I don't know if many people saw it, but it was predicting an Indian summer.
Yeah, we had.
And that was in July, the end of July. Yeah. So that was quite prescient. So what's your prediction for the next month?
Well, October's going to carry on like this, quite a good October. November and December, I can't remember what we said actually. But come to weatheraction.com and you can find out. We haven't done a winter forecast yet, but the one characteristic of what's going on now is wild swings in the jet stream, which we predicted, due to periods of generally low solar activity with occasional quite big bits of solar activity, and that makes these things we have, which have been cold blasts in places and warm blasts as well. And,
so when do you expect to have the winter forecast ready?
Probably in about a week's time.
So we'll try in a week's time and get a winter forecast.
And but whatever, we'll expect extremes in the winter. There will be some extreme cold due to the wild jet stream. The timing of that, though, we'll have to work out.
Okay, all right, thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
That's our game over today. See you guys later.